Hello, everybody. Today is Friday. It is November the 8th.
The
I had
eight.
to look.
Scorpio.
We are definitely live. We got some Scorpios in the building. I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Keisha. I'm one half of the host of the Regal Mindset Podcast show. Jay, go ahead and introduce yourself and we'll get to our guests.
And I am the other half of the Regal Mindset. I am Joy, the coach, and I am your millionaire, your mystic, and your mindset transformer. And I am excited about tonight's topic.
Hey,
Yeah,
hey.
me too. Me too. I've been thinking about it all week. I know we're going to like blow the internet up. But listen, we've got Mel the Messenger here. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself. Give us some of your credentials, where you from,
Okay.
just share who you are.
I am so vast. Let me see if I can break y'all off a little bit.
I love it.
I am Mel the Messenger, but I was born under the alias Melanie Walker.
Okay.
I love the introduction.
And the
Okay.
name Melanie honestly means darkness, but it's really pertaining to the color darkness or hue. So I was born to call darkness out of you.
Okay.
I love
And
that.
Yeah.
and so Florida born and spirit bred, I am a transformer. And I'm a licensed minister, but
Okay.
ordained by the universe to dissect and project.
I
So
love
I
it.
am an oracle in a sense, but also a creative, and I operate creativity under the umbrellas of interior design as well as personal style. But my passion truly is to transform lives and lies.
Okay. I see what
I
you
like
did
that.
there.
So
Yeah.
I'm full of a whole bunch of different things.
Okay.
That's the
And
beauty
so
of it.
whatever you get from me is what you pull out of me.
Oh, okay.
So when you meet me, who you see is what you need at that moment.
Okay. Okay.
I
Well,
love
I
that
love the energy
perspective.
already. I'm gonna tell
Yeah.
you right off the top. I just love the energy. I'm cool with that. But listen, so all I heard was that is a great introduction, and you're most definitely qualified to have this conversation.
Ah!
Absolutely.
Let's set the mood. Okay. So listen, tonight we are talking about, do homosexuals go to heaven?
Woo. This gon'
Can
this
you
gonna
be
do it.
gay in the pearly gates?
What did y'all
Listen.
think? What did y'all think about that question?
I love it. Yes, I think we up there. I think we've been up there. Yes.
I think as I learned and when I've been deconstructing over the years.
Oh yeah.
Now I still hold a lot of my Pentecostal holiness. I still got a lot that I'm
Yeah.
Okay.
still weaning off.
Yeah.
So but I have a different perspective of heaven.
Mm,
I'm more inclusive now. I'm
okay.
more God conscious now.
Okay.
And I don't feel that it's no longer a benefit because you're in the eyesight of the world morally good. So to
Mm,
me, I look at it in a different perspective. And I believe that everybody's welcome. Because if we put it like we asked the young man that was on the last post, the minister, and he was bringing up the whole concept of hell, and I said, well, where in the Bible said we're going? And he had not one scripture because there's no scripture that says it. So if you're looking at it in a open eye, when it
mm-hmm,
comes down to the Bible, the
mm-hmm,
scriptures, and the
mm-hmm.
understanding of hell and heaven, you'll see it different.
Mm,
And so you wouldn't see it as how Black people in the slave times as a reward if I suffer through life when I make it over.
Right.
You're looking at it where you can create it in a place here and enjoy those benefits.
There you go.
And versus, I don't have to go through hell all my life, suffer, get beat, live a life of struggle, and I'm climbing the rough side of the mountain because when I get there, no, I want it now.
Okay.
So I see it different now the way I used to see it.
Well, when you asked me what I want to talk about, it took me a little bit to get back to you because I wanted this moment to be life-changing, but not just for people listening, but for me.
Mm-hmm.
So the question, do homosexuals go to heaven, came from a moment in my life where I was sitting in the office of the person formerly known as my pastor,
Mm-hmm.
having what I guess I would call today as deliverance counseling sessions. And that was the question that stuck with me all these years. It's been over 10 years now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know exactly how many, it might be 15, but of everything that I went through during that time, that question has never left me.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe that the universe sent me on a journey to find out.
Okay.
Oh, that's good.
And the only way that I could pursue the answer to that question, or some form of the answer to that question, was to go through hell
That makes sense.
and come out on the other side and find out.
And and it would be nice to ask them, especially our spiritual leaders that had us in that mindset,
Mm-hmm.
to ask them, well, do you think Moses was taken to heaven? Because in the book of Jude, it tells where his body was placed.
Yeah.
So then it's like make you question everything that they taught you. Then when you say, okay, what about Enoch?
Uh-huh.
Did he go to heaven? Why, if so, it's like it makes you question it and makes you redefine what heaven looks like.
And that's where I think this conversation can go tonight.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, and then the classify and how they always want to, put homosexuals out of the category.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, and I love to argue this point because I'm sitting there like, well, if God so loved the world, didn't it include everybody?
Okay.
So yeah, I want to ask.
That's a good question. And so, to your point, Joy, it comes down to, what do you consider heaven?
Mm-hmm.
Because it took me a long time to break away from the idea that there was an actual physical place
Right.
that was going to be there when I die, that I possibly would have to stand at this gate that was made of pearls, like y'all niggas
Yeah.
said, and
We ready.
answer for myself if I'm worthy or not to enter.
Right.
So I don't know. By the end of this conversation, I want to be able to say, yes, indeed, I believe in heaven.
Mm-hmm.
But what heaven is to me is something completely different than what I was taught for it to be.
Right.
Understood.
Dang. Because
So
if we
even if,
go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
oh no, I'm sorry, Jay. I was just gonna add just a caveat, right? So I just looked at, and I know we've talked about it before. There's 1,500
Mhm.
species, animal species, who have same-sex relation,
There you
right?
go.
So if we
Yes.
say, right, they don't have anybody on social media saying you're doing the wrong thing. They don't have a pastor, But if animals
Yeah.
are in a position to have relations with their same sex, then why would people, pastors, evangelists, whomever, try to condemn me for having a loving relationship? I'm not beating my wife. I'm not, there are DV situations out there, and we understand that.
Right.
However, don't condemn me. Don't try to send me to hell because you don't understand where I am in my life and my journey and whom I love. So my answer is always going to be yes, I can go to heaven.
Right. And piggybacking off what you just said, Keisha, it's natural for animals to do it. So you're saying it's not natural for another species of an animal to do it.
Right.
So they can do it without will or thought. But because we have will and thought, well, they do have will and thought, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But what makes them different from us when it comes down in the way that they naturally live life.
Mm-hmm.
No, you can't make, just like you can't make me believe that I evolved from an ape. You just can't make me believe it.
They're gonna try though.
Yeah, they're gonna try. Like, there's no way that I was a single cell protozoa, jumped up in the air, fell back down in the water, grew fins, jumped back up on land, grew some legs, and next thing you know, I stood upright. It doesn't work for me.
So I want to talk to the idea that pastors should counsel in an area that they don't have any experience in.
Oh.
So
Okay.
I was in this office, and it was probably a little bit harder for me, harder on me, because I was a pastor's assistant.
Okay.
So I was walking closely, personally with them and stuff like that. So to sit in that office, and honestly, I could not answer the question. I remember at the time not being able to answer the question because I didn't even know.
But now,
because
where you are now, what's your thought?
What do you say, Jay?
No, I said, but now, what is your thought now? Now that you come into that understanding.
My thought now is I create heaven for myself at any given moment, at any given time. Hell to me is living in the opposite vibration of what you naturally should be living. So if you're LGBTQ and you're trying to play straight, that's when I was in sin.
Okay.
That's a good perspective.
Every time that I live outside of my true nature, I would call that hell. Because now you're out of alignment with your assignment. And I needed to be this person today, to be on this camera right now, to tell someone else that's living their life the way that I used to live my life, that it's actually not healthy for you to be living opposite of your truth.
Because he'd rather you hot or cold. So if you're in the middle, what he gonna spew you out. So I'd rather you pick a side of your truth.
You know it, Joe.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate, right? And Jay, we've talked about this in the past, and we've even extended invitation to Jackie Hill Perry, right?
Oh my!
And she's not the only one, right? But she has shared with us her story. We won't go through all of it, but from what I understand, in large part, she used to be in the life being LGBTQ, right? And
I'm talking about she heavy
along her journey, she believed, and I'm just paraphrasing, right? So, Jackie, if you want to come for me, come for me, you know what I'm saying? Make sure you accept our invitation.
Let's come. But come on, girl.
She feels as though her walk or her journey getting closer to God has changed her mindset, her thought process in terms of who she is or what perhaps maybe her assignment, right? Being unnatural, and that she's now even in a relationship and married and has had children with this man, and she used to be in that life. There's people out here watching this show tonight that may be struggling with their sexuality, right? In terms of whether or not they're really going to go to hell and what they've been taught all of their life, right? And then they may be looking at Jackie Hill Perry saying, okay, you know what? Maybe I can get out of this. But you're saying to us tonight that your belief is whatever your assignment is and whatever it is your natural ability to love whomever you love. It may be both sex, right? You may be bisexual, but that's your heaven, or that's your direction of in terms of heaven, and to go against that is a version or perception of hell.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You hear you say what you said about sexuality. I want to say this to the people that are watching the show that may be struggling with their sexuality. I submit to you that maybe you're not struggling with your sexuality. You're struggling with your truth.
Mhm.
The tussle on the inside that we go through, the tussle that I was going through when I was back and forth, wanting to be, knowing what I felt on the inside, but didn't want not be accepted by my pastors and my leaders, had nothing to do with my sexuality and everything to do with the truth, my honesty. The only way to heal in any, I will say any situation, is through the truth, through the lens of the truth. And the truth is, I'm not saying the truth is the Bible. I'm not saying the truth is one truth. I'm talking about the truth for you.
Right.
Because that is, authenticity is your power source. The universe can't keep up with you if you're being somebody other than you.
Right.
Facts.
So if out of my mouth, I'm saying, oh, I'm praising God, I'm in church, I want my husband and my kids. But when I go home, I know I'm texting Keisha. I'm sorry, not Keisha. I don't want to use your name.
Yeah, they're not texting me, babe. I promise. I don't. You can look at my phone.
Just got a text
Oh
message.
my God! I know when I get home, I'm texting Susie. Let's just use Susie.
Yeah.
I don't really date no pink toes, but we can use Susie.
Right.
I'm out of alignment, so the universe doesn't know what direction I'm going in. Or I can read and say the universe knows the truth, and it's going to feed me the bits of my life based off of the real story.
Okay.
The universe doesn't hear what you say, it hears what you believe. And the thing that you believe is the thing that you truly act upon when no one is looking.
And it responds to who you are.
It responds to who you are.
Because a lot of people want to push the Bible is the truth. No, the Bible will make you free. The Bible says the truth shall make you free.
Exactly.
And we know that the ways of a transgressor is hard. So if you're transgressing against a situation and you find things hard, then you need to check that situation. Why is it hard? Because it should not be a struggle to live. It should not be a struggle to love. It should not be a struggle. So if there's a struggle, there's some form of transgression there. And we know that to be a
struggle. I think people struggle because they're afraid of what other people are going to say. Even though they may admit it, they may say, I don't want to be a people pleaser. But to some degree, you don't want to search within yourself and live in your authentic life because you're afraid. It could be your parents. It could be your sisters, brothers. It could be a long distance cousin. But because they may not agree with where you are, you're stagnant. You won't move. You won't trust yourself.
Yep.
But but that whole people pleasing keeps such a chokehold on you. Because we know what is it? Maslow's hierarchy of needs. The number one need is the sense to belong. So we understand. But there has to be a place to where you get a level of security in your life to where that sense of belong no longer matters. That's the first need. That's your basic beginning need. A child needs it, a dog needs it, a cat needs it. They need a sense to belong. But then there's another level after that. And then there's continual levels to the foundation eventually spreads out that will hold up every level of that whole hierarchy pyramid, if you really look at it. So it's like you have to get past. We don't live our life and live our truth because, that was the thing. When a lot of people came out, their parents say, what people going to say about me? I'm not going to shit what you ate and you ain't going to shit what I ate. But when you get to that,
too, though, because not everybody's there, right?
It's like, it doesn't matter. And it's easy for us to say that because we are living in our truth. So we are now. Yeah, now. Yeah. But I think at some point, everybody went through, like you, Mel, I was in the church. I was an armor bearer. I couldn't live the way I felt. But I would be lying to say the life I was living was what I felt either. I had both. I felt both of them.
Yeah.
I didn't feel the need to be gay because I was so thrown and encapsulated in church. I didn't see nothing else.
Wow.
But that didn't mean I didn't like women. It wasn't until the church made me mad, and I left the church.
Uh-huh.
And it wasn't a get back. It was, you know what? It's a whole side of me I haven't explored. I didn't deny it. I just never explored it.
Right.
And like I told my story on the last podcast, I kissed the guy once. It was good. Twice, I vomited in my mouth. So I knew then that wasn't my cup of tea. But because I was so indoctrinated in no sex before marriage, this is this, it was God, 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 God. So I honestly would be lying to say that I put my sexual attraction on hold. I didn't. I just never explored it.
Dang, you did good, Joy, because them the ones I was sleeping with, the church.
Then you were thumping them down. Wait a minute.
I mean,
listen, them church hoes be giving it. I don't care what nobody's saying. It'd be nice and holy too. Because after I came out and then I went back to the church, it was on and popping. Because them hoes love a good stud up in church. I don't care what nobody's saying.
Not that Regal Mindset is condoning dating on Christian apps.
They come after us.
Yep.
When you get that good fresh haircut and you walk in that church and you lift your hands up and you worship it and they looking at you like, and you're like, got you.
Yeah.
I ain't come here for you, but you gonna get it.
They're the ones. They're the
ones.
The pastor.
Them and AKAs. The church girls and AKAs. They always want something. Tell me I'm lying.
Here comes the smoke.
Oh no, y'all.
You want the smoke.
Look, listen. So Mel,
so
help us kind of unpack this one scenario, right? So we've established that although the church is where some of the trauma is caused, right? But there's also a opportunity there at church for as well, right? And we just discussed that, right? Which is true, right? I've experienced that as well. So kind of help us understand the difference between our own journey, right? And what we will determine we should believe versus allowing those people outside of us and those churchgoers to continue to spill into what they think we should do.
I might say something right now that's going to be...
Go ahead and say it.
I don't know if it's harsh, but it's very exact. And the only way that I survived was to leave the church.
Oh, okay. Was it because of the trauma or other reasons?
Well, I say leave nicely now. I was dismissed. I was given a choice. I could remain there and not identify as my true self and don't bring a girlfriend with me and on none of that. Or I could leave. So the choice that was given to me at that time, I was with who is now my wife, but she wasn't my wife yet. And so she had started coming to support me because I was a musician.
Okay.
And so she came to support me. We were big givers. You know, we just did everything everybody else did, you know, with excellence, of course. But I was given a choice. I was called into an office.
Okay.
And it was like, either you can stay here and pretend like this doesn't exist, or you have to go.
But most musicians are gay anyway, so what's the problem?
The problem,
not the musicians, or the choir directors.
The problem was, I think the stronger I became in myself, I made it look too good. So there were a lot of young people, college students, everything starting to come in. Like, this is probably one of the biggest prominent churches in my city now.
Okay.
I believe I truly made it look too good. And especially walking in with a woman on my arm in confidence. Not on my arm, literally, y'all. I know my pastor, so she was with me, but we wasn't kissing in the mouth, holding hands, being deep in church.
I'm holding hands. Bring me in here.
It was just as if we walked in as friends, regular. You know, we didn't throw it up in nobody's face. We didn't do none of that. But because he knew me and because of my positioning, I think I began to make it look too good.
Oh.
And
I
so
can see that.
we got to put a stop to this because other people coming in like this gonna think it's okay and they're gonna take over.
That's a lot.
I can understand that.
My running down my face and my now wife next to me in this office, I had to make a quick decision.
And
But
obviously you're married, so we know the decision you made.
yeah, I know the decision I made, but that began the hardest 10 years probably in my life.
Wow. That's
That
church hurt in a nutshell.
I had to choose. I had to choose me
Mm-hmm.
over my other family and the rest of the church family. And I haven't played drums since. I haven't, like, everything that came with me being this person got left with the church.
Wow.
Mm.
It's sad to say that's so common.
In the short form, cute form, quick form, but it was probably the biggest heartbreak of my life next to my parents getting a divorce.
Oh, wow.
Church hurts worse. A lot of people don't realize that.
Yeah.
Because your expectations in a different level.
But
and church work hurts worse.
So why it was like that? Like, looking back in my mind now, I'm like, you already knew who they were and where they stood. Why did you let this break your heart so badly?
Because you ask yourself, why me? I thought that they would see it different.
Mm-hmm. Expected them to see it. Yeah.
Well, what I learned was I didn't have a clear separation between church and God. So you think you're heartbroken by God when you're not.
Mm-hmm. Some people will internalize that. Yeah.
So I had to go through all the processing and deconstruction of God's love versus I go to church. So waking up now on Sunday was like, what the hell am I supposed to do with my life?
Mm-hmm.
Friday night prayer, what the hell am I supposed to do with my life? Wednesday night, what the hell am I supposed to do with my life?
Yeah.
It was like my identity went with it.
Right.
So then you're left with, who am I now? If I'm not Mel the drummer, if I'm not carrying the pastor stuff, if I'm not babysitting today, if I'm not cooking them breakfast, if I'm not driving gas up the cars and pick up somebody from the airport, what am I supposed to do?
You literally just told me my entire church life.
For real?
Because people, when we're in those positions, because I play the keyboard, but I'm more of a Hammond B3 player because my fingers don't move that fast. I'm gonna be honest with you, they're slow. So I like the Hammond B3. So I was a musician at the church as well. And the pastor that we was under, everybody thought my friend was the gay one because she looked like a little boy that wore dresses. Me, I was so comfortable, child. I come in there in my two-piece church suit. I wore my hats. I was everything. They never thought I was the gay one. And it wasn't to throw them off. That's just the way I dress.
Yeah.
And so when I was at this church and I was a choir director as well as the organist. And the pastor, female, I was her armor bearer as well, traveled with her.
Yeah.
I was good enough to do certain things. But then when she started limiting what I can do until I was limited out of the church. So and then it was also a form of jealousy too, because she gave me the mic one time to sing and I know I can sing the hell out of a hymn.
Hey.
That's all I was raised on. Oh, I'm going to take a hymn to heaven.
Sure.
And the people responded and she came and snatched the microphone out of my hand one time.
Yeah.
Then it just kept going from there.
Jealousy.
Then it just kept downgrading. And then it was eventually put on the fact that I like women. And I'm like, so I ain't never brought one to church because one in Atlanta, it was one for each day of the week. I ain't know who was coming on Sunday.
You better know it.
Listen, it was
Amen.
7 days out of the week. We had a rotation. I didn't know who was coming on Sunday, so it didn't matter.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, who made it till Sunday?
Exactly. Then it was a group of church mothers who called us and was like, me and my friend, it was like, hey, we want y'all to come and do something at the church. Can you come help us? Okay. We get there, we felt it, we knew it was a setup. As soon as we got to that door, they had the whole prayer team, oil, white sheet. Oh, they was ready to cast it out of. but then the crazy part is the one that was doing the most praying didn't know I was dating her daughter. I say, ain't this a shocker?
She know now.
She know. Damn, that is true. Hey, mother. I love you. but it was like that. And then when I left the church, like you said, I had an identity crisis. I didn't know who I was. Then when I went to another church, finally built myself back up, that situation left. I didn't know who I was. I went through 4 in my entire life, and I'm 46, where I went to 4 churches, and I was a prominent person in the church, whether it was through music, ministry, on any level. And when I left, I didn't know who I was.
Yeah.
Because it was like you said, you leave and it's like, dang, I'm so used to right now we would be doing this.
Yeah.
I would be over this person's house. And it was like, what am I going to do? And I just became gayer. I think that's it.
That's the problem right there. That's the solution right there.
You told me to Atlanta. I'm going to Atlanta it.
Got the time now. Hell.
I ain't got a chocolate in for Tuesday service and all that. I'm going to see what the compound going to do tonight.
Yeah. But a lot of people go through that, right? And that's their experiences, right? So a lot of people, like we've shared before, on this platform, there's a lot of church hurt. And I believe we asked Devontae while he was on, did the church owe those people that they hurt a response or an apology, right? So in my opinion, I feel like the church owes you an apology, Mel. In a lot of ways, because at some point, what I hope they learn is that they're going to be on the right side of what God represents, which is love, and how they treated you and how they handled you. And the same with you, Jay, is not of God.
That I understand. It's the mishandling of the gifts. You do have a responsibility to still protect God's most precious commodity, which is his people.
Yep.
And into y'all with the God language tonight, but I'm so far beyond in a mindset right now that I don't even that's a whole nother conversation about God. But that's where they drop the ball. It's in the it's in the mishandling of the gift. It's in the mishandling of the gift. Do I fully blame the church and them? No.
Why not?
Because I was, and this is why I coach awareness. I was unaware of myself.
Okay.
This is why it's very important they say know thyself, but be fully aware. When you're not in your consciousness, you're just walking through life like a walking dead. Like I truly believe 90% of the world is walking dead. Fully unaware of what they're doing.
Right.
Because if I was within myself properly, I would have probably never even gone to that church.
Okay.
But let me ask you this. With that statement, that do you feel that was a path that was needed? Because if you wouldn't have went there, experienced what you experienced, you wouldn't be Mel the messenger. You'll still be Mel the drummer.
I know why. Right. Which dang, that sounds good though. Mel the drummer. I understand you, Joy, in that sense. Yes, we take all of everything we go through and it makes us who we are. But I'm not gonna lie to you and say that I would have rather not gone through all the heartbreak. I would have rather come from a house that taught me to be okay with who I am as a child.
Right.
So that then I wouldn't need the approval of men outside of the house.
That's good.
Like a pastor or some form of a leader or some form of a dictator. Then I wouldn't have had a desire to go look for that. But I was raised up in the church. Like, this is your life.
Right.
My family sings. Like, it was, you go to church, you fall asleep on the back pew. That's how much church I was in. Like,
you lay out.
Yeah. My grandfather is a deacon, both of them.
And they take that job so serious.
You better count the change and the offering. Don't miss a beat.
Deacons are hard. They don't understand. They like usher board.
Family full of uncles who are deacons and musicians. And I mean, this was our life. So I honestly appreciate that I was able to have the strength enough to make something of myself with the pain.
Okay.
If I could go back, if I could speak to a little child today who's struggling with that, I would say, be completely authentic and free and love who you are. Stay away from anyone who tells you that you're less than what you actually are.
Right.
Because one of the final words my former man called my pastor, told me, and I have to say this stuff like this, y'all, to keep it straight in my mind, because you can slip back into church real quick,
real easy
when you
come the right music.
So when you hear me correcting myself and saying things a certain way, I have to do it to stay alive.
Got it.
So one of the final things that I remember him saying to me was, you're only going to be blessed at the 30-fold level because you're doing this. Now, people who come up in the church know 30, 60, and 100-fold.
Yeah.
Earn on your blessing. He told me I will never be blessed above 30%.
Wow, I would have burnt this car up.
Do you know what that can do to somebody's soul?
Exactly.
Like, he broke my soul.
Yes. Told you wasn't going to be nothing. That's just like your daddy telling you ain't.
That's exactly what that is.
No affirmation. Yeah.
My parents got a divorce. I was very close to my father. This has nothing to do with that, but I'm making a point. So when you lose a natural father, now you lose your spiritual father, and he tells you you're not worth anything above 30 cents.
Of $1.
When I've tithed well over that to him.
Right.
Okay. To look at your child and say, I can't imagine looking at my son and saying, you only gonna be 30%, boy. You only gonna be. I can't imagine.
Right.
So you're looking at me now at 38, about to be 39 in a few days. Someone who's had to rebuild themselves completely. I'm talking about from the bottom. Mind, body, and soul, and bank account. Because where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. And that's where a lot of church people are broke, because their treasure goes where their heart is. Their heart is in the church, but the church's heart is not in them.
Oh, that was good.
You got to bring that thing into balance.
Right.
So one of the first things I had to do was go back to investing in myself and build who Mel is. Who is Melanie? Actually, I introduced myself as Melanie, but everybody makes it Mel, so we just go with it. Who is Mel? Who do you want to be? And I had to recreate that person all over again.
Was that the beginning of self-love? Was that era the beginning of self-love, or was there other things before that?
That was the beginning. Honestly.
Okay. So that was necessary.
I didn't know that I didn't love myself. Like that's how far gone I was.
Oh man, that's beautiful.
When you're not in your consciousness, you literally are unaware of the fact of what you're doing. You couldn't tell me that I wasn't confident in love. You couldn't have told me that. But now that I'm clear as glass. I'm clear as water, y'all. I'm telling you. Now that I'm clear, I did not love myself.
Okay.
Wow.
I did not love myself. And how can I say I love God? whom I've never seen.
Mm-hmm.
When I
That
came
part.
here, I didn't love myself, y'all. Had to rebuild all that. Didn't even know what it looked like.
Yeah.
When somebody showed up to love me, I thought they was crazy, and I was finna get rid of them because I didn't even know what love was.
Yeah.
It looked weird to me. It looked boring.
Yeah.
It looked
Right.
crazy. It looked like this.
Well, you're a Scorpio. All things look boring.
You can't tell me I'm live now.
Oh, okay, sorry. I'll take that back. Can we edit that?
You're right. Everything looked boring.
Yeah. But that makes sense.
No, I had completely broken down.
Yeah.
Had to all die to
Mm.
come alive again, and that is true resurrection.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
If you can't resurrect yourself, I'm sorry, but ain't no Jesus.
Yeah.
Jesus, see, people read the Bible, they read it with the wrong lens.
Right.
We're taught to look at it as
Very true.
there's other people in this story that we can read about that did these things. I will blow y'all mind if I tell y'all some stuff. That's not it. You should be reading it like it's you.
Right.
Okay.
It says, "For I am the Lord, I change not. For I am the Lord, I change not." They teach you to say, "For I am the Lord, I change not." The Lord don't change. No, read it again. Read it slow.
I am the Lord.
For I am.
I change not.
I change not.
Okay.
When you take that Bible and turn it, and that's how I got here on this journey, because I said, God, if you are real, if any of this is real, if you're the universe, whatever you call, you're going to have to show me. You're going to have to show me. You better show me now.
All of that was God's will then. It was his
and now
plan.
today, thank the Lord, I'm still alive.
Yeah.
Because I thought I was going to die.
Yeah. It feels like that, but you don't die.
Then I was going to die.
Yeah.
But I did have to die. A part of me had to die to be resurrected again and
Right.
be alive.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so and I love that you explained it in that way. And it sounds like, again, from what I'm hearing you say, is that was intentional. That was, in God's will over your life. Right. So help us understand what that work may look like. Right. Because there's some people, again, we're talking to a whole vast group of people who have experienced church hurt, who've gone past that, who have left the church, who is thinking about going back, building a stronger connection. Tell us what that work looks like for you, if you can, just kind of summarize and how you got to where you are today.
It looks like first being honest with yourself.
Okay.
About who you are.
Right.
Melanie, you like women.
I'm not laughing in your face.
No, you good.
But it was just almost like what you do at AA.
Yeah.
You gotta say, I am alcoholic.
Yeah. You gotta
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. Melanie, you like women.
Yeah.
And okay. And that's okay. Melanie. Okay, go through that. Now, what does loving myself look like? A lot of affirmations.
I love that.
Get rid of anything that is not authentically you. So literally throwing away things, cleaning house. Whatever clothes don't represent you, whatever you was, I had moments of purging where I got rid of everything that I felt was attached to church, that was attached to me trying to be somebody that I wasn't.
Right.
You got to get down to the bare bottom. And then it comes to building yourself up with words. When you get strong in that consistently, you build yourself up next in deeds until you truly believe that you are deserving of your own love. Don't even think about worrying about a relationship if you can until you have done this.
Right.
I slept a lot. There was a time where I did not get out of the bed. It felt like a full year of I had enough energy to get up, take a shower, and lay back down.
Wow. So it was almost you went through a depression, though.
If
you look at the symptoms and the signs, it would say depression.
It was a definite form of depression. Absolutely.
Okay.
Pull yourself up out of that. When you get that steady, now I'm standing on my 2 feet, I'm up. I begin to build first my body back. A lot of exercise, a lot of walking, a lot of time in the sun. I mean, walking for like hours. It's all I could do every day. I did that for a long time. I still do that. It's still a very good healing tool. Build your body. That worked up from walking to lifting weights, working out. You do more. You just progress as you go. Right. And then along the journey, it was lonely. So you got to be okay learning to be by yourself.
Yeah.
Be okay learning. Even though I had a relationship, I had a partner, she could not heal me for me. She was there to encourage me. She was there to, lift me up, but she could not heal me for me. So I had to learn to build myself back up. I'm just now getting to a place where I like this. I like this temperature. I like where I'm at. I'm steady. My feet on the ground. But if you can, refrain from any church, any negativity, and fill yourself up with the word. Now, when I say the word, I don't mean the Bible. Right. I mean, whatever you need to listen to for your spirit to come alive, do that. A lot of podcasts, a lot of ministering, but it wasn't church ministering. It had to come down out of that, But it really just took a whole lot of time. And that's been the hardest part, is waiting for my brain and my body to connect.
It had to become like a synchronization, some type of harmony had to align. Harmony. Get it.
But it's just one day at a time, literally. That's all I could do. And I was frustrated along the way. I was upset. I was angry. But I basically walked myself through, like a therapist would walk somebody through. I had to up through because it needed to be me that picked myself up.
Right.
Or it wasn't going to stick. And that's how it became so strong, because I did all the work. I don't think there's a quick way out. I think it's like you said earlier, druggie. You got to go all the way through.
All the steps.
But you to know what your triggers are, and you got to know yourself, know which comes with time. You got to know yourself enough to know, okay, I don't need to be a part of that because that's gonna mess me up.
You literally just gave step-by-step recovery. And you can use those same steps for relationship. Like you said, drug addicts, alcoholism, gambling. You go through steps. You're going to have these symptoms that are resemble depression, resemble this and resemble that. You're going to go through withdrawal because you're going to find a way to create a scenario where you are the problem. You need to go repent before the church to get back in. You're going to go through withdrawal.
Yes.
We all been through that, especially if you've been through some type of church hurt, you're going to sit there and be like, okay, let me just call them. If I could just hear their voice over the phone, especially if you're an armor bearer, you lived in the house with the person you ministered to. Literally. And it wasn't necessarily anything sexual or anything going on. You truly served that person. When they woke up, you made sure they had their food. You drove them around. You did this. When they ministered, you had their book, their Bible, their briefcase, everything. You did everything. And you go through those withdrawals because you're trying to figure out, what do you do wrong to cause this? Can you fix it? And then you got to realize, wait a minute, I didn't do nothing wrong. I didn't do anything wrong. And you have to be okay with that. You're going to go through this grieving stages. You're going to mourn a loss. Because it is a loss. I don't care if it's crack or a preacher. It's a loss.
It's a loss.
Or relationship or marriage. Yeah.
Exactly. It's the loss. So the steps that Mel just gave us can be applied to so many different situations if church is not your problem. But tonight the topic is about it. So it's going to be your problem tonight.
Break that down. Build your brain, build your body. And I like to say build your bank account, because where your treasure is, your heart will be also. Pour into yourself.
Right.
Build yourself up so that you can stand when it's time to stand and be on the Mindset Podcast.
There you go. There you go.
Like
That should be the goal anyway.
that's the goal.
Yeah.
That's the goal. But you're so true.
Yeah.
You're so true about
A
that.
big thing also, let me add this at the end. A part of building your body is watching your food.
Oh, okay.
Because it affects your mind.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to completely change how I ate. Start paying attention. I got so clear. I could tell you my body be like, oh, it didn't like that banana. Don't do that again. Like you become so in tune and encapsulated with yourself. You become a God. This is a becoming a God instead of being a God.
Right.
That's the journey you're on.
That's a good point. I was going to ask if that was a version of fasting or that was just you getting so in tune and in line with who you are or who you should be, who you desire to be, that your body just innately told you that that's not good for you. Some people will fast and do that.
You could call it a form of fasting, but it's really higher than that. It's like intuitive eating.
Okay.
Because when you think about it, fasting is more intentional. You typically fast to get a result versus how Mel said in intuitive eating. And like you said, Keisha, your body is going to tell you something. And it's like, if you hear it, if you're craving salt, you need to hear what your body is saying. Don't just go keep grabbing the bag of chips. It's telling you it's missing something. If you're craving sugar, if you're craving certain things, it's telling you it's missing something. And you need to find out what is missing.
And when you
just go grab a chip.
Exactly. So when you can do that with food, you will do it in every aspect of your life. Why do I keep calling him? Why do I, every time I feel like this, I go to her house?
Oh.
Every time you're training yourself to know yourself enough to know, hey, I found a pattern.
Okay.
I need to break this pattern.
Right.
When you break that pattern, you identify, you know what it is, you can become unstoppable. You can beat anything. You can beat absolutely anything.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Good. That's good. Mine's unfortunately is lemon pepper wings. So I'm gonna try.
I need a time out. I need a time out on that one. Because you've been thinking about that for a second. Because I seen your eyes.
They be calling me.
That's protein.
I gotta stay away from the fried foods though.
Fried, that's inflammation. Fried is inflammation.
Yeah.
You can come down out of that, but chicken is protein.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm still stuck on lemon pepper wings. You don't understand. Keisha, she's my frat.
Okay.
Frat, she's going to eat 3 times a day.
For sure.
You're not going to interrupt it. She's not going to miss. It's a timer, a natural timer she has. And when we was somewhere, she was like, hey, I'm going to get a sandwich. You want something? I'm like, wait a minute. It was like exactly at the moment. She has a timer. And she's we don't never say ex-military, but she's a veteran.
Yeah.
So she's used to being fit and in shape, but she has a timer. And her mood switch. Her eyeballs get stretched like they do now. When it gets close to that, I noticed that about her. When it gets close to that time, please get her a sandwich.
Yeah, something. Yeah.
I'm like that too now. I know by noon, if I haven't done what I'm gonna do for the day by noon, I'm not doing it. Okay. That's my thought, and I don't have the energy anymore to put towards anything rigorous.
Right.
So I get my best work done in the morning. Don't bother me after that.
I love that.
And that's a good thing too. Because I realize my best work comes anytime after 9 o'clock. For some reason, I'm not on social media. Okay. My phone can go down and I can literally get out because I'm in the doctorate program for my DBA. I sat there and got out I'm getting everything out. And I'm like, wait a minute. Now I done sat here all day and they did jack. I ain't send no proposals for work. I didn't send no emails. People get emails at 10:24 at night. And I'm like, but so like you said, before 12, me, If it's after 8, I can focus. I don't know why. Maybe I need to be in a different time zone. But if it's after 8, 9 o'clock at night, I'm good to go. And then I'm back up at 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, if that's working for you.
It works because I don't know why. That's weird.
But does it fluctuate? Like over time, it might change and you slide into something else. You get a new habit. It stay right there.
If I'm answering emails, sending text messages, because one, that's when the thought that I forgot caught up with me.
Mm-hmm.
So if you get a text message from me at 3 o'clock in the morning, that's because I just forgot.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, dang, it's been 2 days. Let me go and answer them real quick. But nighttime is my time. And when I get up in the morning, I'm typically up between 3 and 4. I try to doze back off about 6, 7. And then my clock goes off at 7 because my first call is at 7:30 every morning. And then I'm up.
That's it.
That's my time. So I don't have to clock for food because if I want it, I'm going to eat it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got to clock for time.
Yeah.
What's your schedule, Keisha? I never asked you that before.
You know what? I usually or typically get up. Okay, so the first alarm goes off around 5-ish. I never answer that one. Never. Usually I'll respond to the 6:22 because I'm a deuce. So 6:22 is when the alarm goes off and I actually turn it off. Yes, 6:22. Okay. And so I typically would get up around that time. I don't actually start work until 7:30. So from 7:30 till 5 o'clock, I'm working for Department of Defense. And then after that, then I give myself maybe an hour, and then I start doing things that I need to do for myself, for my businesses, right? And sometimes I could be, at my other office or at this desk until 10, 11 o'clock at night, But even if something happens or something, I'm reminded about something throughout the day, if I don't stop right then or make a reminder or an alarm to answer or respond, I may forget it. Right. So, but yeah, I'm pretty good about looking at my calendar between 7:30, 8 o'clock, setting my alarms on what needs to happen or what needs to for sure happen that day. And then the rest of my day is pretty routine.
Wow.
Yeah, she keeps everything structured.
Yeah. Y'all make me feel.
You gotta catch me.
Yeah.
I need tighter. I'm not though. Every day is like a weekend to me, and I'm grateful.
Okay.
Life to be here because it was hard learning how to transition out of all that structure.
Yeah.
So now that I'm an entrepreneur, I love it. It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, listen, I'm trying to strive to get there. I'll get there one day,
Hey, whatever you want to do, you can do.
Yo, it's definitely
because Regal Mindset gonna be on the road next year. So
2025.
We're gonna have to learn how to do stuff. Yeah, we're gonna have to learn to do stuff on the road.
Oh my goodness, that's awesome, y'all. Thank y'all for having me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you. We want to invite you back in 2025. We'll figure out what's that gonna look like.
Hit me up. Maybe we can do that.
Yes,
that's the whole goal. We want to do more stuff in person at events, things like that. And so we're going to be putting our schedule out, and we're going to do it because we know that we have to be in other places, and we have the commentary. We need to be in other places, and they need us. Like you said, who you get today is who you need it. And so that's the way it needs to be. And we're going to live by that. But to make a long story short, yes, homosexuals do go to heaven.
They go to heaven. They are heaven. They create heaven.
I love that. They create heaven.
And if you walk in your truth, you can be in heaven too, people.
If you walk in your truth, that's it, John.
Yeah, they could be in heaven too. Don't get mad because our life is like the cream cheese on your bagel.
It's
absolutely. Well, Mel, thank you so much again for joining us.
Thank you.
You're more than welcome to come back. We are definitely going to see if we can link up in 2025. Jay, do you have anything else you want to say before we close?
No, I'm going to heaven.
I'm going to heaven too with a Regal mindset, though.
Exactly.
All right, guys. Thank you all. We'll see you next week.
See you.